This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Up, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airwaves of ESPN Radio. 250 plus markets across the United States of America, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM channel 80. I really don't understand what the hell is going on with the NBA. And by NBA, I'm not talking about the league office. By NBA, I'm not talking about teams. By NBA, I mean you NBA fans out there. What the hell is wrong with you people? Have y'all lost your ever-loving basketball minds? Is it on vacation like half of America is during this time of year? Have you forgotten what the hell is going on? What's wrong with y'all? What is wrong with y'all? I say that affectionately to the NBA fans, the great NBA fans out there. I say that affectionately to some of the teams in the NBA that appear to be in panic mode. I say that affectionately to bosses all over ESPN. Everybody's in panic mode because, oh my God, stop the presses. Boogie Cousins, DeMarcus Boogie Cousins, has signed a one-year deal, $5.3 million, with the reigning, defending, two-time NBA champion Golden State Warriors, who have won 3 of the last 4 and arguably should have won 4 straight. Oh, my God, stop the presses. It's just not fair. It's just not fair. I'm talking about texts all over the place. From the nation's capital to Atlanta, Georgia, to New York City, all the way out here in L.A. where I'm at right now. Everybody's talking. Oh my God, just do away with the NBA. You've got memes on Twitter with Adam Silver wearing a Golden State Warriors jersey like it's his fault. You got veteran minimums. You got mid-level exceptions. The Warriors had it at their disposal. DeMarcus Cousins, Boogie Cousins, clearly in panic mode because nobody wanted to touch him. Picked up the phone, called the Warriors, said, I want to go there. And they said, hell yeah, come on board. The players signed off. Steve Kerr signed off. Ownership signed off. That is that. What's the problem? What's the problem? It's just not fair. I mean, look at this. I mean, the rich get rich. I actually put that on Twitter. I mean, my God. This is how everybody was acting. So much for LeBron James in L.A., so much of that about that potentially shifting the balance of power as if it did in the first place. We all knew before Boogie Cousins arrived in Golden State that Golden State was going to be the favorites against the Lakers, against the Rockets, against the Thunder, against the Blazers, against the Jazz, against the Pelicans, against the Timberwolves, against the Nuggets. It don't matter. What is the problem? Why is everybody in panic mode, tripping over Boogie Cousins being in Golden State? What the hell have y'all been paying attention to? Ladies and gentlemen, Boogie Cousins had an Achilles tear. As much of a beast, a monster that he was, averaging 25, 12, and 25, 13, and 5, by the way. The brother's big-time baller. We get that. But he ain't going to be no big-time baller next year. You know why? Because he's barely going to play next year. This dude ain't coming back before April or May. Even then, he's got to wear off rust. Even before that, guess what? Boogie Cousins wasn't some above-the-rim player. Can he shoot? Sure. Can he handle? Sure. Can he get to the basket and get his own shot? Sure. But ladies and gentlemen, that matters when you're on a team that doesn't have options. You think he's taking shots away from Steph Curry? You think he's taking shots away from Kevin Durant? You think he's taking shots away from Klay Thompson? And even though he might take some shots away from Draymond Green is your defensive catalyst. He's got to be on the floor. He's your point forward. He's got to be running the team to some degree. What's the problem? Oh, they're going to be starting 5 all-stars. It's not fair. It's not fair. Something needs to be done. Were you saying that when the Lakers had Magic and Kareem and Worthy and Byron Scott and Michael Cooper and Michael Thompson and Kurt Rambis. Were you saying that then? Were you saying that when the Celtics had Bird and McHale and Parrish and Dennis Johnson and Danny Ainge? Were you saying that when the Sixers had Moses and Julius Erving and Andrew Toney and Maurice Cheeks and Bobby Jones? Were you saying that when the Lakers had Kobe and Shaq? Were you saying that when the Bulls had MJ and Pippen and Rodman? Were you saying that when Orlando had Shaq and Penny and Nick Anderson and 3D as in Dennis Johnson? Were you saying that then? Huh? Huh? What the hell is wrong with you people? What has happened to you? What has happened to y'all? Running around like a bunch of punks and sissies, just conceding everything to everybody. What is wrong with y'all? Figure it out. Figure it out. Didn't you watch Golden State against Houston? They had Kevin Durant. They had Steph Curry healthy. They had Klay Thompson. They had Draymond Green. They had Iguodala and Livingston and these boys. And if CP3 doesn't go down at the end of game 5, they might have taken him out. Didn't you sense a diminished level of toughness on a part of the Golden State Warriors? Didn't you watch as PJ Tucker and Trevor Ariza and CP3 on these boys got all up in their jockstrap, figuratively speaking, of course? Didn't you witness Golden State succumb to a level of toughness in at least 3 of those 7 games? Didn't you see them uncomfortable? Didn't you see them bothered? You trying to tell me there's no way for anybody to beat them? No way? Nobody's got a chance? Don't give me these teams and how nobody can compete with them when you as a fan can't even come up with a damn solution to it. Running around like a bunch of wusses because a guy with an Achilles tear, knowing it's a 12 to 15 month process of healing before he can even play ball, y'all in panic mode because they got DeMarcus Cousins. Now, if he signed a multi-year deal, I get it. It makes sense. I'd understand the panic. But the brother ain't expected to be ready before April or May of next year. Then you got to work off the rust. You got to ingratiate him into the system. The Golden State Warriors have already told them you ain't getting more than 5 to 7 shots a game. This ain't that kind of team for you. We just gonna give you your money, keep you relevant, utilize you in spots when we can. And other than that, you can ride this wave to another championship situation. And y'all in panic mode. What the hell is wrong with y'all? I mean, what is the matter with y'all? Should I be snatching basketball cards from everybody? There's a reason New Orleans didn't want them. There's a reason the Lakers didn't strongly pursue him. There's a reason no one else out there would kick it in DeMarcus Cousins' door to get him. It's because he's coming off of an Achilles injury. How did Kobe look after his Achilles injury? How long did it take the great Kobe Bryant, who, by the way, is about 5 inches shorter and damn near 70 pounds lighter? How long did it take him to overcome the Achilles tear? Actually, was he ever the same? And y'all tripping over DeMarcus Cousins? You people should be ashamed of yourselves. Absolutely, positively ashamed of yourselves. I don't even know if you should be allowed to have your basketball cards anymore. I'm not saying the Warriors aren't the favorites. I'm not saying they're not formidable. I'm not saying they're not lethal. I'm not saying any of those things. What I'm saying is it ain't because of DeMarcus Cousins. It was because of what they had in place en route to winning back-to-back titles long before DeMarcus Cousins ever arrived on their roster. Grow up! Stop being a bunch of punks. Figure it out. Figure it out. I mean, my God. Houston's got no shot now because of a dude with an Achilles tear that ain't going to be ready before April. The Lakers with LeBron. Is it really about Cousins, or is it about the fact that, as Bill Plaschke, the great Bill Plaschke, wrote in his column in the LA Times today, is it about this dysfunctional locker room that might be in the process of having been created by Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka because of the temperamental personalities that they have on there? Rondo and Lance Stevenson in the same locker room, along with Mr. Shaq and the Fool himself, JaVale McGee, to pair with LeBron. And we ain't even include LeVar Ball in the mix and what he's going to have to say about all of this. And whether or not the Lakers are plotting to trade his son, Lonzo. We ain't even getting all of that. What's the matter with y'all? What is the matter with y'all? I can't believe how folks are acting over this. I know that DeMarcus Cousins is big time. I know he can ball when healthy. But even when healthy, he was not an above the rim player. Listen, this dude will face the basket. He could pull up for threes. He could put the ball on the floor. He could get to the hole. But that's when he was the number one or the number 1A option. He ain't even option number 3 in Golden State. What's the matter with y'all? Blaming the NBA, mocking Adam Silver as if it's his fault. There's a collective bargaining agreement that was negotiated. If you create cap space, you can do some things. In the event that you don't have cap space, if your team is lethal enough, people tend to come want to play with you. Do you remember when Ray Allen left Boston, who offered them less money to come to go to Miami and play with LeBron James? How about Mike Miller? Did you remember that D. Wade and Bosh and all of those boys took less? Where's that happening now in L.A.? Paul George didn't even talk to the Lakers. Didn't even talk to them. I don't know the whole backstory with DeMarcus Cousins and the Lakers, but I'll find out within the next 24 hours. I can promise you that. Outside of that, what are we talking about? New Orleans stupidly didn't look out for Rajon Rondo. They didn't take care of him. They didn't even want to offer him the $9 million that the Lakers offered him after the year he had for them. And I know he's no shooter, but he always steps up his game in the postseason. He's a better shooter. As a matter of fact, I think he shot about 40% from 3 in the postseason. He's a champion. He's been to a couple of NBA finals. As the pressure mounts, he doesn't panic. He shows up and handles his business. It's what he does. Now, I don't understand what the hell the Lakers are doing because you haven't surrounded LeBron James with any shooters yet. Rondo is not a shooter. Lance Stevenson is not a shooter. Here's what they do have. Toughness. They ain't scared of anybody. They gonna get all up in you. They ain't backing down from a single challenge. And defensively, the Lakers are definitely something to behold. With Kuzma, with Ingram, with Stevenson, with Rondo, with LeBron. Oh, trust me, they ain't backing up from anybody. That much is true. I don't understand renouncing the rights to Julius Randle. I know he wanted to leave when you saw the parts that was coming on. I'd have kept him. New Orleans think they make enough of something by getting him. I like Julius Randle a lot. I like his energy off the bench. He can do some things. I think his upside was great. But I will tell you this. He don't replace Rondo. And Rondo helped buffer Drew Holiday and Anthony Davis. And if I'm Anthony Davis right now, I'm looking at New Orleans and saying, what the hell is going on here? I really, really am. But outside of that, the real issue is, what are the other teams doing? Houston had to lose Ariza to make sure they took care of Chris Paul and Clint Capella. You got to play Chris Paul. A lot of people lamenting the fact that once he turns 37, he'll be getting paid $47 million. I'm telling you right now, Chris Paul is not an above the rim player. He doesn't have that level of athleticism, etc., but that works to his advantage because his greatness is predicated on his mind, his basketball knowledge, and his floor generalship. That's what Chris Paul's greatness is predicated on. So I could see 4 years from now him still being formidable. Maybe not worth $47 million, but with the way the cap is going up, with the NBA being the global iconic brand that it is, raking in the money that it's raking in, that might be average dollars for Chris Paul by that particular moment in time because of the money that the NBA is getting. And you got to keep Clint Capella. You got to keep him. You can't let anybody get him. You got to get him. You got to keep him on board because he's that instrumental to the success of the Houston Rockets. I wish they could have kept Ariza, but as Kobe Bryant said to me yesterday right here on this very show, very, very happy that Ariza got his money. Even though last time I saw him, he was over 9 from three-point range in the Game 7 of the NBA Western Conference Finals. But Houston will be formidable. The Lakers, right now, we got to wonder about their locker room. With a coach like Luke Walton, young, vibrant, gets along with players, etc., etc. Magic Johnson hovering over the franchise. All of that's true. But these guys will test you. And we got to make sure that that's not something that's problematic. You still got Oklahoma City with Russell and Paul George and Carmelo Anthony. And Steven Adams. We keep throwing him under the bus. Steven Adams can play. Steven Adams is a legitimate big man in the NBA. And even though I've asked the question as the GM Sam Presti, if anybody else once had Ibaka and Reggie Jackson and James Harden and Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook on the same team and never delivered a championship, how would we be talking about them? That's me basically pointing to Sam Presti's choices as coach. As much as I like Billy Donovan, and I genuinely like him and think he was a great college coach, I'm not even saying he can't coach in the NBA. I'm saying I don't know if that team is the right team for him. So I question Sam Presti's decision as to who the coaches he has picked. I think he's picked guys he's comfortable with as opposed to individuals who could actually do the best job. But that doesn't take away from his greatness as an executive. He has done a good job. And Oklahoma City is going to be relevant because of that. In Portland, you got to make a decision on Damian Lillard or C.J. McCollum. Portland ain't going anywhere with the both of them. They're the only two guys with value on the Blazers. You've got to get rid of one of them. Use one of them as trade bait to get the other parts that the other would need staying on the Portland Trail Blazers. It's got to be Lillard or C.J. McCollum. One of them's got to go. Otherwise, they're just going to be a team that's good in the regular season, and they'll go home in the first round again. Utah, Donovan Mitchell is a stud. I think he's a superstar in the making. I love him. And I think Quinn Snyder is an exceptional young coach. So I've got my eyes on Utah. And I like this guy, Grayson Allen, out of Duke. I'm trying to tell y'all right now, you call him temperamental, head case, all you want to. I've always liked Grayson Allen. I love his toughness. I love his unwillingness to back down from anybody. And I saw that kid, Jaren Jackson, in the Summer League yesterday, dropped 29 for Memphis. Brother's going to be special. No doubt. But Memphis is irrelevant right now. I'm looking at Denver on the come up. Not hearing great things about Michael Porter Jr.'s health. But I expect Denver to be relevant. I expect Minnesota to be relevant. I expect New Orleans to be relevant. Utah, OKC, Portland to be relevant. Lakers in the mix to all of that. But Lakers could easily be the third best team in the West. What's the problem? Boogie Cousins has no impact on all of this. He's just an additional piece to add. He's an upgrade from JaVale McGee. So what? At the end of the day, he's coming off an Achilles tear. He ain't going to be ready for a long time, according to the reports. And if that's true, what's the problem? Why y'all in panic mode for? Instead of whining constantly about the greatness of the Golden State Warriors, why don't you do something about it like Houston tried to do? Why don't you do something about it? Instead of whining all the damn time. Compete, damn it. Figure it out. Figure it out. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Your phone calls and more on more NBA free agency talk. Bill Plaschke's article in the Los Angeles Times about these Lakers. Plus some football items to get into as well, involving Jameis Winston, involving Terrell Owens, and others. Stick around. Don't touch that dial. You're listening live to Stephen A. on ESPN Radio.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
A couple of things that are worth noting here. Rajon Rondo, reading from Bill Plaschke's column in the LA Times this morning. Rajon Rondo, 12-year veteran, playing on the 6th team in 6 years. As Bill Plaschke accurately pointed out, he's been trouble almost everywhere, cursing out coaches, turning his back on coaches, and once enraging Coach Rick Carlisle so much he basically cut him in the middle of a playoff series. Quote from Rondo years ago: I don't think there's not one coach I've played with that I haven't gotten into it with. It started when I was around 6 years old. I got into it with my Little League football coach. There's a quote from Rajon Rondo. JaVale McGee, his 6th team in 11 years, had a good NBA Finals. No doubt about that. But he's been a human blooper reel, as Bill Plaschke pointed out, from his days in the NBA. He's turned videos viral with missed dunks, awkward turnovers, and the memorable time he was on the Washington Wizards when he hustled down the court to play defense while his team still had the ball. Says here the Lakers used to have Shaquille O'Neal. Now they have the player who has starred in O'Neal's TNT television blooper series, Shaq and the Fool. Of course, there's Lance Stevenson, 7th team in 9 seasons. He's a decent basketball player, real tough. I like him personally. But he's a bit different, let's say. LeBron once called him a little dirty in these playoffs when they played Indiana in the first round. But it is what it is. All of that you're adding to a young locker room with LeBron James and a 38-year-old coach in Luke Walton, who's got to manage all of this. That's out west. Out east. Well, what do you have? You had the Boston Celtics. Some would say the Toronto Raptors to some degree, but not really. Philadelphia 76ers on the come up, just ain't ready. Not as long as Boston's standing in their way. If you can't beat Boston without Kyrie Irving or Gordon Hayward, what the hell are you going to do once Boston gets them back this year? This is Charles Barkley talking about the Celtics, though. Listen to this.
The Boston Celtics are the team to beat in the Eastern Conference for the next 10 years. They think about it. They took them to 7 games without Kyrie and Gordon Hayward. So the Cavs were done anyway if LeBron stayed there. It's all about the Boston Celtics now.
I wouldn't say 10 years. I'd say the next few years. I can't see anybody beating them, but I think changes are coming. I think Kyrie is not going to stay there long. I think Boston will make a couple of moves, but they definitely have the assets. And with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum there, along with Rozier, assuming they keep Marcus Smart, I definitely think you look at the Boston Celtics. They clearly are the team to beat in the Eastern Conference right now. The Boston Celtics should be in the finals next season. Philadelphia can't mess with them. They've done nothing in free agency other than keep J.J. Redick by cutting his salary near 50%. That's about it. Philadelphia 76ers ain't beating the Boston Celtics. That much I can tell you. It's just that simple. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. But the reason why I think it's important to point out stuff from Bill Plaschke's column as it pertains to the Lakers, the Knicks, and everybody else in between, you got to understand something here. Kobe Bryant said it best when he was on this show yesterday. You got cats that are looking out for one another. They play with one another. They play against one another. But the vitriol, the hatred, the animosity, et cetera, it's basically non-existent. It's a different era. It truly, truly is. And folks complaining to the league, I don't know if the league is at fault about that. It's so much money to be made. Guys are trying to help each other out off the court, and you almost can't knock them. We don't want to see those sad stories of guys that made all the money in the world, and then after that they have nothing once their careers are over. We don't want to see that. We want to see brothers helping one another out to contribute to their communities, be civilized individuals who are contributing to those communities, being role models, etc., uplifting disenfranchised communities from whence they came, along with various other communities throughout this nation. These guys are role models. And yes, they go on the court and they compete with one another, but they also help one another uplift each other's respective communities. And when that kind of stuff is going on, vitriol and venom ain't a part of the equation. I can appreciate that and be incredibly thankful and grateful for that, while at the same time finding myself to be a bit challenged in terms of liking it when it comes to watching these guys compete against one another on the court. Just something to think about. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to John. You're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. What's up, John? Talk to me.
Stephen A., man. How you doing?
I'm all right. Talk to me.
Thank you for taking my call.
Yep.
I agree with you 100%. Two points I'm going to make. When the trade signing happened with Boogie, all my friends on my ball, like Golden State's a lock. I'm like, Boogie's coming off a ruptured Achilles, and he was never an above-the-rim player. And I said, if you look, Houston laid the blueprint of how to get into Golden State's chest. And I'm tired of seeing of all these other NBA teams and players going on Twitter like, oh, my God, I can't believe it. Yo, what happened to manning up and saying, I can't wait to play that team? They think they bad. All right, let's line up and let's go at it. Because
that's exactly my point.
Sports, Stephen A., even back in high school, back when I played, when we knew we was going up against the defending county or state champ, that's the game we wanted. We wanted to play them. I don't care about the team we could beat by 30. Give me the champs. Let's line up. Because if we can push you to your best and maybe beat y'all or hang in there with y'all to the end, we'll take that because now we have a foundation laid. And just like Kobe said, where's the old school hatred for that team? Like when the Bulls and the Knicks was going at it, man, that's what we need. That's what I miss. When the Bulls and the Pistons was going at it, where's that? I think that the NBA has just gotten too soft. It's too much love now. Granted, these guys have played with each other since AAU and high school, college. I got it. But
I got you.
Where is the old school, I'm going to beat you and embarrass you whenever we play I'm not joining your team?
We would hope that, but some would argue that LeBron James has a lot to do with that change in attitude because when he joined forces with folks in Miami and it was so celebrated, everybody was trying to do it because they show it wasn't just about the success. The players showed how you could profit off of it. I mean, D Wade's doing big things off the court. Chris Bosh is capable of doing some things off the court. We all know that LeBron James, I don't care. Listen, did you know, for example, I don't know if you know this. Do you know that even though no one is on LeBron James' level, did you know that Steph Curry signed one of the biggest production deals we've ever seen from an athlete?
Yes, he did.
Producing television shows and things of that nature. Look, man, these guys ain't playing. And we should admire them. This is not an insult. It's something to applaud. I mean, that's phenomenal. But what I'm trying to say to you is that when folks are doing, to me personally, what I like about Steph Curry with LeBron and what I'm getting the sense of with Kevin Durant with LeBron is that they're not just trying to compete with LeBron on the court. They're trying to compete with him off of it. I like that. What I don't like is the partnerships. Because I don't like anything that gives me the appearance that you ain't going all out to take each other out. Your competitors be competitors. That's what I like. That's just a preference. I'm not judging anybody. I'm just telling you my preference. Gotta go, John. Appreciate the call. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. More to Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio in a minute.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
Hour number 2, we'll definitely get into, something about Terrell Owens. There was a meme on, I guess that's what it's called on Twitter, where it had Adam Silver wearing a Golden State Warriors jersey. The Knicks PR. I mean, that's the only thing. The only thing that made news was what Enes Kanter said about Commissioner Adam Silver. We'll get into that in hour number 2 as well. Little baseball on my mind too. Thinking about my New York Yankees. It's just me. It's just who I am. Columnist for the New York Daily News wrote, with LeBron going west, the NBA has no choice but to change its playoff format. We'll definitely get into that as well come hour number 2, so stick around. Don't touch that dial. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. Back to the phones we go. Let's go to Christopher. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, Chris.
Hey, what's up, Steve?
I'm good.
From New York, first-time caller.
Yep.
Listen, man, the answer right now is that we should have got Mark Jackson. That's the answer right there. Golden State really didn't take off until they had Mark Jackson.
First of all, stop right there. You're talking to a national radio audience. We're in 250 plus markets across the United States of America, plus on Sirius XM Channel 80. You saying we should have taken Mark Jackson? Who the hell are you talking about? Be clear. Which team?
New York Knicks should have took him as a coach.
Okay, go ahead.
Then we had the option of Donovan Mitchell, man. Why did we pass on him? What were we thinking?
Because Phil Jackson was asleep at the wheel. Phil Jackson was more interested in stealing money than actually doing the work.
But the man has the heart of Sprewell. And we had the heart of Sprewell, and then we had Mark Jackson, and then we add a couple more pieces.
Okay, so let's be clear. You wanted to call up here to whine and moan about what might have been? Because that's the
I want to talk about, I want to spill a little milk. I want to cry about a little spilled milk. Is that okay?
No, it's not, actually, because all it does is going to make me depressed, and I don't need to be depressed while I'm doing this radio show. And not only that, I actually like David Fizdale. Mark Jackson was my favorite choice. It was my first choice, because I think you needed a culture change. You needed somebody that spoke to New Yorkers, and when they opened their mouth, we believed them. And we didn't believe that the tentacles of James Dolan was going to hover over this franchise like a virus and bring us down even further into an abyss. Steve Mills, the president of basketball operations for the New York Knicks, came on this show last week, sat right next to me and said, hey, we're going to be all right. And the buck stops with me. We've laid out a plan. James Dolan has assured me this is my team. He will not interfere with our basketball decisions, and we're going to do what we're going to do. The buck stops with me. So if that's what Steve Mills says, along with Scott Perry, who's a respected basketball mind in NBA circles, and now that you've hired David Fizdale, who's a credible coach, a damn good coach, by the way, in this league, we've got to give them the respect that they're due by giving them an opportunity to showcase what they bring to the table. We have to at least do that for them.
Yes, we do. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Take it easy. No problem. Eric, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, E.
Oh, man, Stephen A. Hey, I haven't talked to you since LeBron went on that tear in the East. Remember we last talked about that. But I want to congratulate Magic Johnson, Jeannie Buss, and the return of Showtime. I was waiting for this for so long. And I wanted to point out, man, with Lance Stevenson, he's an East Coast Brooklyn-style player that's, phenomenal. You saw Rondo get up in Draymond's face to show that, hey, they want to knock off the champs. McGee, he's like an informant. He was the X factor in both of them last championships, and they played him like he was only worth a little bit. Magic them going to get him, and he used to play for them. You look at Luke Walton, when Kerr went down, he coached the team, grabbed all the blueprints, brought them back home to L.A. KCP is that shooter you said that they didn't have. And the rest of it, watch Magic and them work, man. I love what's happening, and definitely love that they got LeBron James. Oh, my God. And to be able to size them up, to play them regular season 4 times, is better than just meeting them in the finals.
Gotcha.
That gives LeBron and them more chances.
Well, not just that. If you're going to lose before the finals for a change instead of going to the finals and then going home in June. Appreciate the call, man. Thank you. Let's go to Shane. You're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Shane. Go ahead.
Stephen A., how you doing, buddy?
I'm all right, man. You only got a minute. Go ahead, buddy.
All right. I have a problem with I think that the front office in the Pelicans are making a big. I don't understand how dare them still have a job. I hate to call for somebody to lose their job, but how do you let Rondo go? I just don't understand. How do you do that? I don't know if the ownership is strapping him with cash or.
I'm not gonna call for Demps to lose his job, but I will tell you that I am quite surprised and disappointed that they didn't take care of Rondo after the season that he had and the playoff that they had and the way he looked with Drew Holiday on the floor and Anthony Davis. It makes no sense to me why Dell Demps and those boys didn't take care of it. You're talking about Rondo who shot 40% from 3 in the playoffs. He goes to another level when it counts. All right. He can give you 20 to 25 minutes per game of excellent play. They didn't want to take care of him. They didn't want to give him the mid-level at $9 million. It just makes no sense to me whatsoever. It really, really doesn't. I don't understand it, but that's just me. Appreciate the call, man. Thank you. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. More NBA talk. Enes Kanter on the commissioner, changing NBA playoff format. plus Terrell Owens. All that and more. Hour number 2 up next.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Welcome to hour number 2 of the Stephen A. Smith Show right here on ESPN Radio, coming at you as I love to do every weekday. Before I get into a little NFL stuff on Terrell Owens, Enes Kanter, who opted in and elected to stay with the New York Knicks upon learning that Boogie Cousins has agreed to go to the Golden State Warriors. Enes Kanter, of all people, the Turkish star for the New York Knicks, let me say the Turkish player because he's no star, but he can play. He's tough. I like him. He tweeted this out. Commissioner Adam Silver of the NBA, has agreed to a mid-level extension with the Golden State Warriors. League sources tell me. He's joking, of course. And he has Adam Silver in a Golden State Warriors jersey. Let me say this in all seriousness. I think the Commissioner Adam Silver is getting a bad rap here. I think he's getting a bad rap. This is not his fault. The collective bargaining rules are as of such. I mean, look. You once had 6 and 7 year deals. Now the max you can get is 5. You've allowed it so if you are with a team, you can get, for example, just throwing out a hypothetical here because it's true numbers wise. If you're a team and you elect to stay with your own deal, like Russell Westbrook elected to stay with the Oklahoma City Thunder, it's 5 years, $217 million. Okay? Just think about that for a second here. Now, LeBron, had he stayed with the Cleveland Cavaliers, he could have signed a 5-year, $207 million deal. But instead, he signed a 4-year, $153 million deal with the Lakers. That's about $54 million he left on the table. What more can the league do? What do you want him to do? Oh, you're only allowed to have 2 stars on a team? Are you ignorant? You can't do that. The monetary incentives have been put in place. You do have teams who have literally elected, or players rather, who have literally elected to take less money to go play elsewhere. I mean, what more do you want them to do? This is not on the commissioner. This is not on the league. This is on the individual players who've made decisions and have elected to do what they do. They've made that call. Nobody else did that. I can't point the finger at the league office. I can't even point the finger at teams. I have no problem with what Golden State is doing. My man Champ, who calls in here all the time, compared the modern day Golden State Warriors to what Dr. Bush used to do with the Lakers. Found a way to get Shaquille O'Neal via Jerry West. And before then, you had other teams like drafting of Magic Johnson, acquiring Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. After Jerry West was gone, finding a way to get a Karl Malone and a Gary Payton, even though they were beyond their prime. I mean, what do you expect them to do? At some point in time, it comes down to the individual player wanting to send the message, I don't want to join stars. I want to compete against them. In my perfect world, ladies and gentlemen, I would be about the players all wanting to be on different teams. I would want Kevin Durant going up against Steph Curry and LeBron James and Russell Westbrook. But in the same breath, I don't have a problem with Golden State having Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. I didn't have a problem with Oklahoma City having Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook because they were drafted. And even if it's a collection of stars, anything that's produced and accumulated through the draft, I have no problem with. Even through trades, I have no problem with. It's when you are a free agent, free to go anywhere you want to go, and you choose to join stars rather than compete against them. That's what I have a problem with. I don't have a problem with them having free choice. I don't have a problem with them having power. I have a problem with them not wanting to face elite competition, wanting to stack the deck so no competition is on their level. That's what I have a problem with. That's what affects me. You see, I'll give you a perfect example. I'm doing radio, or I do television, and, you know, my man Skip Bayless got his own show. Love my man Skip. We're brothers for life. Love competing against him. Colin Cowherd and others, I've known them for years. Jim Rome. These are colleagues, contemporaries who I have profound respect for and pretty damn good relationships with. I love competing against them. We talk about ESPN being a worldwide leader. I don't show up to work every day lavishing in the luxury of working for the worldwide leader. I show up every day looking forward to presenting myself as a worldwide leader, having to live up to that adage, that mantra. That's what I like to do. This is why I love Michael Jordan. This is why I love Kobe. Michael Jordan used to be on a podium, and people used to sit up there and come to him with quotes that somebody would say, whether it's a Clyde Drexler or an Isaiah Thomas or anybody else for that matter. And Michael Jordan used to just play it off like it didn't matter. And then he used to turn around and go like this. Excuse me, what did he say again? Before he left. What did he say again? Because he was looking for every motivational tool imaginable. When these guys were sitting there talking to him and sitting there going like this in the Olympics. Well, you know what? Guess what we gonna do, man? You going up against Clyde Drexler in the NBA Finals. Really? Watch what I do. Watch what I do. In the Olympics, he's hearing something about this guy, Tony Kukoc, who's supposed to be this guy from Europe that's supposed to be some star. And him and Scottie Pippen are literally fighting with each other over who gets to defend and put Kukoc on lockdown. That's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. That's the kind of stuff I like. That kind of stuff I want to see. Or when in an all-star game, when Dwayne Wade had accidentally busted up Kobe's face. And then the next week on a Sunday afternoon, the Miami Heat was coming to the Staples Center. And everybody and their mother knew Kobe was waiting. And then immediately, once the game started, Kobe went into attack mode and tried to take it to D Wade. That's what I'm talking about right there. I'm talking about competition because we knew D Wade was great and we knew Kobe was great. It ain't about us being friends and you know, getting along. Nah, dog, I'm coming after you. I'm about to bust you know what. Let's get it on. And I'm saying to you, that's what we want. That's what we want to see. That's what makes it special. And I'm saying to you, that's what I love. That is what I love. That is what I live for. That's what sports is all about to me, that level of competition. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Let me transition to a little football here. Terrell Owens, as you well know, is officially a Hall of Famer. The induction ceremony in Canton, Ohio, is scheduled to take place next month. Unlike anyone and everyone in NFL history, Hall of Fame history, Terrell Owens has decided he ain't showing up to Canton, Ohio. He was nixed twice. He was nixed twice. He was obviously offended by that and wants to celebrate in his own fashion. That's what he wants to do. And so as a result, he's not going to show up to the ceremony in Canton, Ohio. He's going to do his own thing. And he issued a statement yesterday clarifying exactly what he intends to do. Terrell Owens' statement says, as many of you know, I am foregoing the Pro Football Hall of Fame induction ceremony in Canton. After giving it much thought, I have realized just how much I want to celebrate what will inevitably be the best weekend of my life at a place that means so much to me. I have decided to give my Hall of Fame speech at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga in McKenzie Arena on Saturday, August 4th. The event, which is free and open to the public, starts at 3:17 p.m. I completely disagree with Terrell Owens on this. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say this to you. I'm going to say something that you've never heard anybody say about Terrell Owens before. I think Terrell Owens is a victim. I'm not saying he wasn't a headache. I'm not saying he wasn't temperamental. I'm not saying that he wasn't a problem at times. Hell, I won't even deny that. Listen, I wasn't inside those locker rooms, but there is no doubt that there are some teammates and others who have called him a locker room cancer. I'm going to say something that I want y'all all to understand, and I want y'all to hear me and hear me good on this. All of that is irrelevant. It has nothing to do with the price of tea in China. Terrell Owens is one of the greatest wide receivers we have ever seen in our lives. Terrell Owens on one leg was the best player in a Super Bowl loss to New England back in 2004 when he was a member of the Philadelphia Eagles. Terrell Owens finished top 3 all time in about the top 5 or 6 wide receiver categories. Only Jerry Rice and Randy Moss can compare. And if Randy Moss was a first ballot Hall of Famer, Terrell Owens should have been too. And here's why I say that to all of you. And listen, this is Stephen A. Smith disagreeing with somebody like the great, great Bill Polian, who I respect and revere as an elite football mind who's a Hall of Famer in his own right. But I would beg of Bill Polian, the Jeff said, you got to understand, let me also express something to y'all before I go into this rant about Terrell Owens. Here's where working for ESPN is the ultimate privilege. Teddy Bruschi's an employee of this network. Ryan Clark is an employee of this network. Donovan McNabb used to be an employee of this network. He was a teammate of Terrell Owens who had problems with Terrell Owens, and he still said Terrell Owens deserved to be a Hall of Famer. Bill Polian, a Hall of Fame executive, is an employee of this network. The Mark Schlereths of the world, the great Mark Schlereth, who I miss dearly, he used to be an employee of this network. Merrill Hodge, my brother, who is a wonderful man. I love that man and I miss him too. He used to be an employee of this network. The great, iconic figure that is Tom Jackson. And don't get me started on Boomer himself, the great Chris Berman. I mean, there's only one Berman, baby. Back. I mean, when you talk about somebody like him, I will personally tell you, when I was going from ESPN for a couple of years and I came back, one of the greatest honors that ever happened in my professional career is when folks welcomed me back, except Chris Berman, who shook my hand and said, "Welcome home. We've missed you." To hear something like that from that man, and I'm not a corny brother, and I'm not the most emotional dude in the world, I cannot tell you what an honor that was for me to hear that from him. I cannot tell you. Chris Carter, my brother, See, these are people that used to work. They ain't working at the network anymore. That don't stop my friendship with them. My love and admiration for them and who they are and what they've meant to me. These are people who have educated me and continue to educate me about the world of football. When I give speeches, I always tell folks I'm brilliant because I know I'm not. I learn from those who are brilliant and I steal successful habits. It's very simple. Not brilliant because I'm brilliant. I'm brilliant because I'm smart enough to know that I'm not, and I listen to those who are. That's why I come on the air with such fire and fury and confidence and beyond, because I know who taught me. When I talk about basketball, and I learned from the Clarence Big House Gaines, and his mentor was John McClendon, and the two of them were responsible for integrating the sport of basketball. And then my first job in basketball was covering John Chaney, and my second job in basketball was covering Larry Brown. What the hell do y'all think somebody could tell me about basketball? You have any idea who I've learned from? So I take all of that knowledge and I couple it with my personality and my willingness to dig and to probe in an effort to inform and entertain. And that is where my confidence comes from, which is why I don't give a damn about how people feel about what I have to say, because I know it comes from a place of substance, because those people are substantive. When I tell you that I speak basketball, it's not just that I learned from Hall of Famers. I'm still learning from Hall of Famers. Some of them have been guests on this show. You think Kobe hasn't taught me about basketball? You think Isaiah Thomas hasn't taught me about basketball? You think Shaquille O'Neal hasn't taught me about basketball? You think present day players like LeBron and D Wade and others haven't taught me about basketball? Magic Johnson? So I say all of that to say, when I decide to disagree about Terrell Owens, and I am willing to call him a victim, here's why. All of the things that they say about him negatively are subjective. And subjectivity should never usurp facts when it comes to Hall of Fame. There is no denying that Terrell Owens was one of the greatest wide receivers to have ever played the game of football. It is an absolute travesty that he had to take 3 nominations before ultimately getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. It is wrong. We have let criminals, we have let drug addicts and others into the Hall of Fame. Who the hell is anybody to judge Terrell Owens deciding whether he's a Hall of Fame or not? The facts say he's a Hall of Famer. Period. Anytime you open the doors of subjectivity, it sets the stage for highway robbery. You can put him in the Hall of Fame and put an asterisk there and say this is what his issues were. You can tell a complete story, the good, the bad, and the ugly about him. But you should never deny what the facts say. The facts say he's a Hall of Famer. The facts say that subjectivity denied him entry into the Hall of Fame as a first balloter. It is wrong. It is unfair. Because who is it that's judging him? Is diversity prevalent? Who are the people that judge whether he should be inducted and should not be inducted? It's not right. He should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. So I understand his frustration. Here's the problem why I disagree with Terrell Owens not showing up in Canton for the Hall of Fame. You're displaying your petulance. You're reminding the world that you don't get over somebody else's flaws against you. I got something else to tell y'all about Terrell Owens. he's actually a very good man. He's not a liar. Man doesn't even curse. Terrell Owens is actually a good dude. He don't always make the best decisions. Sometimes he displays immaturity. Hell, I could argue that that's what he's doing here in this case. But it doesn't negate the fact that he was a victim. Ain't too many people. We want to sit up there and we want to applaud DeMar DeRozan and Kevin Love of the NBA for revealing to the world mental illness struggles that they've had. And we want to talk about those stories in very glowing fashion, giving them all the credit in the world, which they deserve. How about the credit that Terrell Owens deserves? Being interviewed by Oprah or Iyanla Van Zant, rather, on her Fix My Life episode, which are great television shows, by the way, and talking about his issues, how his daddy, he grew up right across the street from his daddy, and his daddy didn't even acknowledge him as his son. And all the emotional problems and strife that caused his life. You know what courage it takes to do that? I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't tell my business like that. But T.O. did. You may not agree with everything about T.O., but he certainly has enlightened us all to the trials and tribulations that he endured that formulate his life. Where's our compassion for him? Where's our forgiveness for what he's been through? Where's our sensitivity to his plight, his struggles, and how he worked his tail off to overcome? How much admiration does he deserve being 44 years of age right now and running a 4.3 in a 40? Keeping himself in phenomenal shape, being disciplined, working hard, never cheating anybody. What about that? We don't talk about that, do we? Because we don't like him. It's wrong. And I want y'all to know right now, I don't agree with T.O. one bit, staying away from, because I think it's adding fuel to the fodder of how immature or how sensitive he may be and all of this other stuff. But I want y'all to know something. I love my brother Terrell Owens. I don't agree with everything, but he's not playing anymore, and I don't have to report on him anymore. He will always have a friend in me because he's a good man. And he deserves better from all of us. You can say he should do things differently. You could say he's immature. You could say he's wrong or he's a bit too sensitive. All of those things are true. But he deserved better from us. I should say y'all, because I always thought he was a first ballot Hall of Fame. It wasn't me. Anybody who voted against him being a first ballot Hall of Famer should be ashamed of themselves. Having said all of that, I think T.O. is truly going to regret not going to Canton, Ohio, and celebrating himself as a Hall of Famer with that Hall of Fame class. I don't think he sees it. I don't think he understands how much he's going to regret that somewhere down the line. But it is his choice, and he's always been his own man. I have to respect that, even though I emphatically disagree with him. But I also am going to be supportive enough to understand why he's doing it. He wants to be with the people that loved and supported him, rather than being around people who've done nothing but betray him and his worth. And for that, T.O. ain't the only person who should be looking in the mirror today. There's a whole bunch of others who should be doing so as well. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. More of the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio in a minute.
I'm a one-trick pony. Literally. I show up at kids' parties and act cute. That's pretty much it. So excuse me for being bitter when Geico says not only could we save you money on car insurance, but we do more. Like give you 24/7 access online, over the phone, or even via our award-winning mobile app. Well, ooh la la. Aren't they multi-talented? Hey, I said organic carrots.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Joe. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me.
Hey, Stephen A. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
I want to first off say there's no denying T.O.'s physical abilities. Great receiver. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. The irony in this whole thing, to me, is he was a look-at-me player his whole career, and now he has that chance to say, everybody look at me, listen to me, and now he's passing on it. And my last comment is, I do believe he was a cancer in the locker room, because being a good teammate is more than just your physical attributes. It's about being a good teammate as well. Guys,
stop right there. Stop right there. Let me ask you this question. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this, Joe?
Yes, sir.
How do you know? How do you know he was a cancer in the locker room?
Because of reporters.
Let me finish. Reporters who were talking to whom?
Players.
Because you have to remember, I covered Terrell Owens when he was in Philadelphia. And I am telling you, half the locker room loved the ground he walked on. They considered him not a problem at all. They thought it was Donovan McNabb. The other half considered Donovan McNabb a problem. Is Donovan McNabb a cancer?
He wasn't reported as one, no.
Let me explain what I'm trying to say to you. I'm saying to you, it's subjective. I understand why you might not want someone on your team. I am in no way trying to tell you you're wrong, Joe. I'm saying in no way can you definitively say you're right. Because all we can go by is what the reports say based on the few folks you spoke to. But there were also folks that were quoted on the record talking about how valuable he was. So when it comes to the Hall of Fame, that's entirely different. Let's say, for example, Joe, who's your favorite team?
Colts.
All right. If you don't want him with Andrew Luck, that's understandable. You see where I'm coming from? I totally understand that. But once his career is over, what do you have to go on?
Well, my question is, you mentioned Bill Foley.
You got to go by the numbers. So what I'm saying to you is you have to go by the numbers. See, if you want him on your team or you don't want him on the team, you know why you don't want him on the team? Because of the things you heard and how it potentially may be a risk. That's entirely different than your career being over. Because once your career is over, the only thing that's definitive is your level of production.
And his production was great.
But that's it. Whoa. Stop right there. What do you do for a living, Joe?
Nothing.
Joe. Nobody knows who you are. You didn't give your last name or address or whatever. Just answer the question. What do you do for a living?
For a living, blue collar.
All right, blue collar. We got a job, right, Joe? And all these people want to sit up there and talk about Joe. Damn it, I didn't like Joe. So that might hurt you from getting another job or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, Joe, if your job is to produce, and at the end of the day, it says there's factual evidence pointing to your level of production. So somebody be able to deny that you were elite at your job?
No.
But that's what the Hall of Fame is. But that's all the Hall of Fame is. Anything else that you're talking about, I get that. But as it pertains to the Hall of Fame, all the Hall of Fame is validation that you were elite at what you did. That's it.
He is an individual that wanted to be looked at. Now he has that opportunity in front of the world.
I'm saying forget all of that. We both agree he should be in Canton. We both believe I totally agree with you. It's kind of ironic. A guy that was me suddenly has a me moment and doesn't want it. I get it. You're right. But in the end, what I'm saying to you, Joe, is principally speaking, in the end, when it comes to something like the Hall of Fame, the only thing that should matter is your production. Nothing else. Like, for example, Joe, I'm a guy that believes Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. I think it's an absolute travesty. Do you know why?
I believe so, too.
Well, guess why, Joe? Because Pete Rose, they never said he gambled as a player. So what, he gambled as a manager. You could put him in the Hall of Fame and say he smeared the sport as a manager, but as a player, there is no denying how great he was. He's the all-time hits leader with the greatest nickname in the history of the sports, Charlie Hustle. And what they want to do is they want to act like he never existed. Did baseball ever give all that money back that he generated for the sport?
No, of course not.
So why is it right for them to keep the profits that they made off of him, but disavow any knowledge? that he existed. Who the hell are they? Mission Impossible?
I agree. I just think it's very ironic that he is skipping the introduction to the Hall of Fame because he was get your popcorn ready, look at me, and now he has that opportunity. The whole stage to himself.
I agree.
On, man. That's crazy.
He
deserves to be there, though. He does deserve to be there. I agree.
And that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And he should have been a first ballot because the facts say he should have been a first ballot. Not all of this conjecture about what kind of person he was. He should have been there. And that's our problem with our society. We want to sit up there and create narratives and dictate narratives in a fashion that benefits or excoriate who we choose instead of paying attention to facts. If facts didn't matter and all that mattered was perception, Eddie Murray in baseball wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Media couldn't stand him.
No doubt.
Media couldn't stand him.
It was just the irony of the whole thing. I mean, I don't disagree that he should be there. His production was great, but very ironic. Thanks for the call.
Thank you.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it.
888 ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Before we get on out of here, let's get back to the phone. Sam, you're live with Stephen A. Go ahead, real quick, Sam.
Hi, Stephen A. I have a question. You said that the NBA should be looked upon because it's not cool because all the players go to one team. Well, there's two things that can fix that. One, if they get rid of the salary cap and let one player get paid his true value, every team won't have 5 superstars on it.
I would tell you this. Actually, you can't say it's the owner's fault because the owners ain't tripping because they making money hand over foot. So this policy that's in place works for them, A. And B, you also have to remember, I'm an advocate of players getting as much money as they can 1 year at a time. That's me. I would do away with those multi-year contracts where they could walk around with a smile on their face if they lose because they know they're still getting paid. I like the idea of players costing themselves money by not winning because it elevates the urgency to win. And I love that. I think that's great for competition. Gotta go. Appreciate the call, man. Let's go to Rod. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, Rod, real quick. Go ahead.
Hey, Stephen A. I've got a question, man. So, you got LeBron in L.A., you got Rondo in L.A. What about Kawhi Leonard? Or is Magic going to do some magic, bring him onto the team?
Well, Kawhi Leonard is coming to L.A. next summer at the latest. He wants to come now, but he's still under contract with the San Antonio Spurs. They're going to either trade him before the trading deadline, trade him this summer, or they will wait until next summer and potentially lose him for nothing. Kawhi Leonard has made it very, very clear that he's coming to L.A. the second he gets an opportunity to do so. He won't have an opportunity to do so on his own until July 1st of next year. But the San Antonio Spurs may elect to move him before then, and they've been on the phone with the Lakers over the last couple of days. Gotta go. Appreciate the call. TJ, you're live with Stephen A. Real quick, TJ, go ahead.
Yo, what's going on, Stephen A? Real quick, I know time is short. I just want to point out a fact to you. Terry Rozier, he averaged 5 points a game in his sophomore year. Then you have your man Aaron Gordon. He averaged his rookie year 5 points a game. My point is that you always get on Frank Nicolina about him not being a stud. You don't see it. He's a rookie. He only had 1 year in, and he's already a little bit above these guys at averaging, or actually the same at 5 points a game.
All right. Well, first of all, I never brought up Ntilikina's facts. I just said I watch his game, and I'm not impressed with him offensively, but I am impressed with him defensively. He's got a lot of courage. He ain't scared of anybody. He thinks he can defend anybody, and I like that. But I don't see him being a game changer. And with the 8th overall pick, I would have preferred more. I always preferred the Knicks going after Donovan Mitchell, which I said before the draft last year. They saw Frank Ntilikina. Now, if you think Frank Ntilikina is in the same class as Donovan Mitchell, I think you should get drug tested. Have a nice day. Let's go to Jay. You're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Jay, go ahead.
Hey, Stephen A. Real quick. Brilliant job yesterday with the interview with Kobe Bryant. It really made me look at Kobe through a different lens, kind of in a disrespectful fashion. We always talk about MJ and LeBron. We can't forget about that brother, man. That was a stellar interview yesterday.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Kobe Bryant special, man. No question. Polo, you're live with Stephen A. You only got 30 seconds. Go.
What's going on, Stephen A?
30 seconds, bro. Go ahead.
You hear me okay?
Yes, go. You got 30 seconds. Go.
First of all, I thought you were a Philadelphia dude, so I thought that you're in New York, so you're okay now, even though I don't like the Giants or the Jets. My thing is this. everybody's whining, complaining about Boogie Cousins, whining. Why don't you do something? I mean, these owners are billionaires. Spend some money. I know there's beautiful East Coast
Goodbye. You clearly don't know what you're talking about. The fact of the matter is, it wasn't about money with Boogie Cousins. It's about the